Wake up, Adam. They are getting close.
I'm not one to talk about things I see since I worked for the military for 17 years. So I'm pretty closed-lipped about things, and I don't really believe too many things unless I experience them. But last week, me and my buddy of 30 years, we raised our kids together. We're up in the mountains north of Las Vegas, a place called Dead Horse Ridge. Me and my buddy, we were up there, and we don't drink or do any drugs. Unfortunately, we're boring. And we're just sitting there listening to Frank Sinatra really low. And I had my tablet on a tripod, and he's facing me, which he's facing west. And I'm facing him, facing east. And we got our tailgates open to both our trucks. We both drove our personal trucks up there. And while we were sitting there, I saw like a flash of light, almost like a camera flash. You know, back in the day when you just have a camera, you just take a picture and it flashes. And I didn't think nothing of it. I thought, oh, that was weird. And then I saw it again. And then so I said to him, I was like, hey, did you see that flash? Like someone coming up the dirt road, because he's facing the road, which is facing Area 51. There's like a fence there. It says, don't go over there, and it's a restricted area. And the other side is Dead Horse Ridge. It's Nevada Department of Wildlife and BLM land. There's cabins you can go up there and whatever. And he's like, no, I didn't see anything. And then a little bit of time goes by, and I see this flash indiscriminately, like I'd say every 12 to 15 minutes. And I was like, wow, it's really strange. So then around 11 o'clock that night, while I was talking to him, my tablet screen is facing me, and on the screen it's off, mind you, it's just off. It's just sitting there. And on the screen, I could see the reflection of something blue, green. It was weird. So I turned around real fast, and he jumped up, and the ground lit up. You could see the shadows on the trees, and even the bushes right there. It was so bright, like a shooting star almost, if you will. And it lasted for a couple seconds, and it was so intensely bright that, like, literally I could see the definition on the ground of the shadows move from the trees, because it was casting shadows from its light. It was above us, and it wasn't shooting across the sky at 1,000 miles per hour. It was kind of like floating, like a fast balloon, if you will. It was very weird. And I went and I grabbed my night vision. I have one of those Sightmark HD night vision scopes. And I grabbed it, and I'm looking like towards the restricted area now. Instead of east, I'm looking west. And my buddy's looking. And on the road coming up to where we are, I could see a couple people, which was really weird because no one was out there. And you can see cars for miles and miles where we're at. So we couldn't hear them, couldn't see them. And I seen a couple guys down there on the clearing of the dirt road. And so I started zooming in on them with my night vision, and I turned my infrared illuminator on, and I could see that it was two guys. And I hate to say it, but it was very weird. And so I told my buddy, I was like, man, I think the ranger or somebody's coming up here, which is weird. Why they didn't just drive up here? Why would they walk? And so he wanted to look through my night vision, and I let him, and I went to my truck, and I grabbed some protection, if you will. I don't want to say what I grabbed, but I got some protection because it kind of made me nervous. It's dark, it's late, and nobody should be walking up a dirt road, especially with no flashlights or any type of light.
Unless it's some sort of cult thing, right? Either way, it's creepy.
Yeah, it was really creepy. That's what freaked me out, is like they didn't have any flashlights. And they're walking up a dirt road towards us in the middle of nowhere, literally 2 hours out on this dirt road up in the mountains, which is very unheard of. Like, I'm 50 years old. I've been going out there. I've never had that happen ever. And you're not allowed to ride dirt bikes out there because it's a wildlife area. So it was very strange. So I grabbed my protection, And he's looking through the scope, and he kind of starts freaking out and panicking and telling me to be quiet, not to even walk, because just walking on the gravel was making noisy. And he's not one to freak out. He really doesn't care about too much. So that drew my adrenaline up a little notch or two, you know? And I was like, well, what do you see? He's like, don't move, just be quiet. You know, one of those things. And I'm like, what's this? What's he doing? So
let me ask you this.
He's like,
continue. Do you know that there were other sightings in Las Vegas, right? That one person said that they saw an 8-foot, 9-foot person and got video of it. What was the time frame?
Yeah,
on
that's
this?
why within like 2 hours when we seen it. So that's why I was calling you, because I wasn't going to ever tell anyone this. I could care less. I've seen thousands of lights in the sky and ricochets from bullets when I was in combat, things that are just weird, you know, even Apache shooting machine guns at night. They look like laser beams. I've seen so many things. Navy SEALs swimming in the ocean back to back with their flashlights on, look like a round saucer. I mean, I've seen so many things that were all practical, you know, but they, at first glance, you would think, oh, it's a UFO, but it's just a Navy SEALs with lights back to back in the ocean. And so I never wanted to get too excited about stuff, but my buddy was definitely excited. And he's the one who called me yesterday, and he's like, bro, you're never going to believe this. Like, he sent me a link to the local news. And on the local news, they have our Metro Police with body cam. And it was the same exact colored light, this bluish greenish light that we saw. And then these guys got some crazy story that there were like these 8 or 9 foot tall naked creatures in their backyards, which sounds ridiculous. But I'm telling you, Adam, that's exactly what we saw on the dirt road. My friend is the one who actually was like, hey, bro, they don't have clothes on. And I was like, what? Like, I was thinking, what are they, like on drugs or something? You know, out in the middle of the mountains with no clothes on? I did not think for 1 second alien ever. Like, I never connected the meteor or whatever it was we saw with what was on the road, if that makes sense, you know? But when I saw them through the scope before I handed it to my buddy, and this is no joke, one of them, it seemed like, looked right at me through the scope. And when it did for that second, I was frozen. I was like, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Man, I'm not scared. Like, there's nothing to be scared out of here. There's nothing out here but lizards and you know, mountain sheep and wild horses. There's no, you know, bears or nothing crazy that'll get you. I'm not scared of anything in the dark. Trust me. But for one split second, when the one of them, like, it seemed like he looked right at me. And when he did, I was like frozen with only my thoughts. And that's when I handed him the scope and went to the back of my truck and grabbed my protection. And then he started panicking, which made me panic even more, because I'm usually the one out of the group that gets excited about stuff, you know, because we were in a rock band. We drive all over the West Coast playing shows, and I'd see stuff in the middle of the night, big birds flying at night. I'm like, what the hell's a bird doing out at night? Only owls come out at night, you know? And I'm like, what was that? But yeah, it was weird. And the news kind of connected what we saw and we're talking about for the rest of the night. I stayed up till the sun came up. That's how traumatizing it was. Like, I did not want to go to sleep. I stayed up all night. My adrenaline was pumping. And then when he sent me the link to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, and then they show, if you watch on YouTube, they have the interview with the family, and they say, yeah, that they saw a greenish bluish light, that there were 2 naked creatures. They said they were aliens. You know, I didn't want to go that far. But it kind of made me second guess what I saw, and I just wanted to share it with you. You got a great show and a lot of good topics, and this isn't one that I really gravitate towards. I'm more on current events and the military stuff. But this really happened, so, you know, I just wanted to share it with you guys, and I'm not saying it was an alien. I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling you they look tall, really tall. You hear that aliens are really short. These guys look really tall. I couldn't tell you how tall, but they were slender and very tall and really scary looking through my night vision, enough for me to grab protection. And they were in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of the night with no lights.
But
That's about-
Josh,
that's about that.
I think that many people here can feel like when you describe this, one thing is it I don't know, to me, it sounds like you're reliving that moment. You can tell when, like, every part of it. So it's really freaky. The hairs on my arm went up when you said that you looked through and they were walking. The light coming out of the forest, I actually showed kind of a reference photo. We all think about that when I think about that when I'm in the forest, of something, dropping down between the trees, kind of something just landing right 50 feet away. You've seen this in so many kind of science fiction things. For it to happen in real life, that's pretty scary.
I was just going to tell you one other thing that was very strange, that when I looked at them through the night vision, when a cat's kind of like in the grass in your yard stalking a bird, it'll take a couple steps and then stop and its tail will move, and it'll take a couple steps and stop and its tail. That's how they moved. They moved like animated, like claymation, and then they stopped and froze. And then they took a couple more. It was so freaky. That's why I got freaked out. I was like, man, this is weird. So I just wanted to share that other detail because that was something I noticed. It was like almost like stop and go animation type thing.
Josh,
thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing again. Thank you, Josh. And update us if you find anything else out. And Josh, you have a wonderful night.
It is the police call everybody will be talking about. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now. And tonight, our David Charnes with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise, sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
Well, the 8 News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Someone calls 911 reporting 2 large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? Or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, Only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey, if those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So yeah, this is quite weird, Brian was saying as we're watching this story. Now, we've been in contact with the family in that video, and as you heard in that 911 call, they seem very reasonable and honestly quite scared as you heard them in the call. No, they don't seem impaired in any way, and whatever crashed by the time the police got there was gone, but sources say that there's really no dispute. Something was in their yard. Exactly what? We do not know.
I mean, it's so interesting. So, like, the Metro officer sees something, the neighbor sees something. I mean, so what could it be?
Well, we know that there are obviously a lot of military bases around this area. George Knapp covers a lot of that stuff for us on the 80s Now Investigators. We're showing you drone video from above that area. And we know, of course, Creech not far away, Nellis Air Force Base not far. I checked in with them. They say they are not involved at all, and we are waiting to hear from the Pentagon as well.
And you talked to these people. It seemed completely legitimate to you. And do you have any personal thoughts on maybe what it was?
Right. So it seems from talking to our sources that something happened. There was obviously some flash in the sky. A lot of people saw it that night on the night of April 30th, early in the morning on May 1st. Did that exact thing land in their yard? I don't know. But these people said they saw some SUV circling the area. Could this have been some piece of equipment that malfunctioned? Maybe they saw something and then someone came. I can't believe we're talking about this.
Right.
Someone came and retrieved it from the backyard in the SUV. We don't know. This all comes as a former high-level intelligence officer, a veteran, was on News Nation talking about how there is a program where the government collects some unidentified objects. So this might be that. We just don't know. We're going to work to find out, though.
And
Brian,
no substances. They were looking with clear eyes. Goodness.
Very interesting.
Not big buggy eyes, though.
This is really unique. Thank you, David.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video. I'm here to tell you what happened to me on May 1st, 2023. I'm trying to explain the best of my abilities. This is not a conspiracy theory. I'm not making this story out for clout or fame. I just want to tell you what happened to me and my family. And I know some people are not going to believe this, but each person is different. So this is what happened to me. Keep in mind, this is midnight and I'm fixing a truck in my backyard. At this point, I'm only with my brother and I hear something fall from the sky. I turn around. The only thing I see is a big light falling from the sky. And moments after, I feel a big impact and a bang, sort of like a big impact fall. And me and my brother looked at each other and we were scared, but when the impact happened, it was sort of like a shock wave, like an out-of-body experience. So to say, when I tried to look at the object, it was all blurry, not my vision, but only the backyard area. And I hear thousands of footsteps around me, and maybe a couple seconds later, the blurriness was gone. And here's the footage of the body, the police officer's body cam, and here's the object I'm referring to, the light. Video. Here's a Ring camera video. You can hear the bang. This is around the neighborhood. So here's the video. So when that happened, the only thing I can see in the backyard is a tall creature, probably around 8-10 feet tall, very thin. So I called my dad. He went to the backyard and he saw the same thing, the same creature I saw. He told me to go inside the house. At this point, we all freaking out, me and my family. And here's the video where we were in the backyard area. You cannot see it too good, but on camera, but it's there. Here's the video.
¡Ay! ¡Permisar! Calmungarela, me canceles var eso. Cáelo, cherro, que chitica. Cáelo, cherro.
Moments after the video, me and my brother went to go pick up my tools. Then my brother calls me, and he told me shakingly, "Look behind the forklift." So I look. Keep in mind I'm facing the forklift, and then I see the alien creature. So when I saw it, it was a tall, skinny, lengthy creature. He was a gray, greenish color, and when I looked at it in the eyes, my body just froze. Like the same experience as having sleep paralysis. Keep in mind I'm staring at him, and I look at his whole body, and he has a weird looking feet and a big face and eyes, and you can see a big mouth. And I could hear his loud, deep breathing, and I could see his stomach moving. He would just stare at me. Seconds later, I could start moving again. And I start running towards the house. That's when I call 911, and here's the 911 call.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the police to come, and you could hear footsteps in the backyard area, and a loud whispering, like you could hear whisperings. We were in the living room area, and you could hear footsteps on the roof. So we waited a little bit for the police. When they arrived, I told them what I saw, and they were kind of freaked out. Here's the body cam of the officer.
Now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro...
So they went in the backyard, and one of the officers pointed at the floor, and it was a perfect circle. Here's a photo of the circle I'm referring to. Keep in mind, 2 officers came in my house, and one of them started running to his car, driving around the neighborhood, asking passing cars if they saw light.
What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
Goosebumps and freaking out. He started investigating that he told me his partner, she saw a light falling from the sky. He told me he believes me because her partner reported that she saw the same light as me. Now we're walking the front yard. Then the other officer came here. Here's a video of him talking to my family.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So,
moments before they left, one of the officers told me, if I see the thing again, to don't call him, just shoot him. And you can hear in the video. Here's the video.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So they left, and we went inside the house, and we started praying. As we're praying, you could hear a loud human-like scream in the backyard. This is what happened to me on May 1st, 2023. I hope you guys kind of understand what happened to me. I know it's hard to believe, but I saw what I saw, and it's kind of going viral. That's why I'm here to explain the story. I did an interview with journalist Doc Papa. I'm going to put his video in the description. I'm going to make a part 2 of the stuff that happened after May 1st. And thank you for watching the video.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government program for decades. Tonight, a world television exclusive you will only see on News Nation. Welcome to Elizabeth Vargas Reports, earning your trust every night. UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations from a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran David Grush is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. For years, there have been whispers and rumors that the government had aircraft of non-human origin. This report is the first evidence it might be true. The Inspector General has called Grush's complaint urgent and credible. Tonight, we have a world television exclusive interview with the whistleblower in which he claims we not only have the aircraft, but the government has been keeping much of it secret from Congress and from the public. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton is here with the story, and this is a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. It's really hard to wrap your mind around this. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. Over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level. For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all be conspiracy theories. In recent years, Congress starting an official U.S. government Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. And now in a News Nation exclusive, David Grush, an Air Force veteran, former member of that task force, and veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, is formally blowing the whistle on secrets he says no one has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the U.S. defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grush sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
Grush alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the intelligence community inspector general. News Nation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume. We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. He says he can't show us the proof for national security reasons. He also tells us he's not seen photos of the alleged craft himself, but has talked extensively with other intelligence officials who have.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
It's also harder for people to wrap their minds around the concept of a crashed object from somewhere else. It's easier to accept that, yeah, we see things in the sky that we can't explain.
Journalist Leslie Kean broke Rush's whistleblower story this morning in the debrief. Ms. Kean's career has been mainstream and credible, having written a series of reports on UFOs in the New York Times dating back to 2017. He has the credentials, but there's no documents that he's handed over. There's no pictures. And as a journalist, you want to see documents, you want to see pictures. Does that raise a red flag?
Not at all, Brian. I mean, you mean documents that actually describe the craft?
Correct, yeah, like government documents, or to be able to see it for ourselves.
Of course, don't we all want that? And the problem with that is all of that information is classified. You know, as we said in the story, everything that Grush told Congress and told the Inspector General of both the IC, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and the Department of Defense Inspector General, all of that information is classified.
In 2017, Kean reported exclusively in the New York Times that the Pentagon had a secret UFO program. 3 years later, the Pentagon confirmed her story. Her latest report is even more explosive, but Kean says she has multiple sources who back up Grush's story.
I believe it because of all the sources I have who have told me the same thing. So who am I to doubt these very, very high-level people who have been inside these programs for decades, have done their work, and are all telling me the same thing? I mean, I don't think there's some kind of conspiracy among all these people who don't know each other to make something like this up.
So I've got to be blunt about this. You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
And just within the last 10 minutes or so, the Pentagon has released a statement to News Nation about this report. They say to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. AARO is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads. AARO, working with the Office of the General Counsel and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, has established a safe and secure process for individuals to come forward with information to aid AARO in its congressionally mandated historical review. AARO's historical review of records and testimonies is ongoing and due to Congress by June 2024, and AARO welcomes the opportunity to speak with any former or current employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to this historical review. And Elizabeth, we know that David Grush, he's filed that whistleblower complaint. He's been on the record under oath testifying to many of these things that he said in our report tonight.
Right, and it's important to point out that this statement from the Pentagon, from AARO, Grush is alleging that this top secret program is keeping it a secret from AARO. So.
Yeah, exactly. And if Grush is, what he's saying is true, you know, the spokespeople, all of those folks at that level wouldn't even know this was going on anyway.
All right, I got to ask you, you know, he has a compelling story to tell. Very little of it seems like firsthand knowledge. Isn't he just repeating what somebody else has told him or somebody else has showed him?
Yes, that is what he's doing, but he says he's talked to a number of people who are in very, very high-level positions. He also had basically the highest level of classified material information that he was able to receive. We went back and checked over, you know, his history, all of his credentials. Check out completely. Unfortunately, there's
in addition, a couple people have come forward publicly to vouch for him, people who are high-ranking.
They have, and this article first came out this morning, and I think it's interesting that, you know, there hasn't been any sort of effort to discredit what he has said either from the Defense Department.
So interesting. So what happens, you know, and have we had any reaction, by the way, from members of Congress who have been taking this seriously in the last couple of years? We've seen congressional hearings. We've seen NASA's hearing just about a week ago on UFOs or UAPs, whatever you prefer to call them. We've seen the DNI give a briefing to the White House on this. We've been hearing whispers and rumors for years. I remember even former President Trump, when he was in office, sort of saying, oh my gosh, if you knew what I knew about UFOs.
Yeah.
So there's always been this intrigue.
There has, and think about it, Elizabeth, if you go back 15 or 20 years, if we were sitting here talking about UFOs, people would think that we were nutty. Now it's gotten to the level of where it is somewhat accepted because the government has come forward to a certain extent and acknowledged that there are these videos that exist. The Navy has released the videos themselves and said, we're not sure exactly what this is that we're seeing. Of course, what Gresh is saying really just sort of takes it to the next level.
Boy, it sure does. It's almost impossible to believe.